Welcome back to the 80 Star Basketball Channel, the only star basketball channel where we're going to see if our 2025 predictions are nailed just as good as my 2024. Not this right here, my video from 11 months ago. Star hot, flare not, Jordan's the GOAT. Um, but it's kind of cool to look back and see that video that I made. Actually, it was more like, I think, almost 12 months ago, but yeah, that I pretty much got that one. Let's see if my prediction for this year. And this year, I'm going to say I kind of looking at I do think that prices have bottomed, and one of the things that's kind of showing me that is the PSA sixes. I'm going to see what this PSA seven on PWCC. Um, right over here. I am interested in watching this one. See where this ends at. This is more of kind of a bellwether card to me more than anything. Is the PSA sixes and sevens as far as understanding the market, and I do see that I think this PSA seven will probably end up right around 40. I would be surprised if it goes under, simply because the sixes now are showing a little more strength. So are the 288s. Here's the six that sold last night. Kind of a standard six, I'd like to call it. Maybe a little nicer, in my opinion. But for the centering people, this isn't a solid card. But you got to pick your poison with a six. But this is just to me, I thought was a solid six. I would get this case. I would get it recased. Get that, unless that's just lint on it. But it's got some scratches, the casing, but this card looked really nice to me. I actually liked it, and I wanted to get involved, but um, on this one, I couldn't, because I couldn't move a few things. I didn't really try too much. I was like, okay, but this is, to me, I think this is the bottom you're going to see on PSA sixes and sevens. And to me, it's not. I'm not hoping for a fast price rise. I do think that these are undervalued long term. Still, obviously, I still think these are the Jordan rookie cards, the true Jordan rookie cards, and the perception is changing. And so I started thinking about this year. Okay, well, are there any more catalysts or news that'll come out that kind of help change this? This is a slow moving train. Obviously, these cards are pretty old, but there is still news because of such a special story for Star. That and here is my prediction for this year is that I would kind of say that we are going to see slow and steady price rises. And the one big catalyst that I see coming is PSA announcing that they're going to start grading bags. I'm hoping that this year is the announcement. Obviously, I'm not sure, but I think that it is a conclusion that it is going to happen as opposed to not. And I do see that as something that's going to be happening. And I think it is much more likely than not. And hopefully, this is the year. If that does happen, I think you're going to see a star bump, not just in bags. I do think that you will see it across everything and the interest. Because bag auctions, again, it's just a very difficult thing. People are worried about the condition of the bags, and they can't tell without a grader online. And most of your purchases are going to be online, so it's just bags are a difficult thing, because I think they're the coolest thing that going. Factory sealed Star, I mean, it's just awesome. However, there's a big problem with them in the fact that you kind of can't tell the grade, and people want price. Going into my next theme, people want price stability. And I think that was the one thing about last year. I said it here, and then it got a little too hot too quick. And that is not good for price stability, because people then start to worry about, oh, is it going to drop? Oh, I think the valuations of where they got out, especially long term, I see them getting there easily again. Um, I hope that goes a lot slower this time, to be honest. And I do want to see them rise, but I would like to get a few more copies. Stable, slow, steady pricing helps everyone. It really does, because when buyers have confidence in what they're getting, that isn't going to drop, and they believe in the product. Um, that's where you get a good solid market. And Star, everyone kind of went, yeah, it makes sense. These are the true rookie cards. PSA is grading. These are now, it helped legitimize it. And that basically showed so many people who didn't believe it at first or never, have even known about the Star being the rookie, or always heard misinformation. That's what is out there more than anything. So it's really, really kind of cool to see this year coming. And again, with auctions like this showing the bottom, now we've had a couple of pricing right around 25. And I think PSA 6s have bottomed at 25. And I think that PSA 7s have bottomed right at the high 30, maybe 40 mark. So it's going to be interesting to see this auction as kind of a bellwether going forward. But I do think we're going to see slow, steady price increases, and we will see a bump if that does happen as far as bags this year. But that's news that will hit the market and be big for Star as a whole. I also said that Fleer was not. I said right here, Star hot, Fleer not. Jordan's the GOAT. Jordan sure was the GOAT. Was hot this year, especially the ending of the year. Star was hot, especially in the kind of the mid 3/4 of the way through, mid to 3/4. It got very, very hot. And when I'm talking Fleer, I'm really meaning kind of I focus on the '86 Fleer Jordan. There's just, again, love the car. There's just too many of them. And that will make sure that there's a lid, especially now with the perception change in the hobby and going forward. So one thing also came up, Tony. Tony mentioned there was someone who posted this in a group for crossovers. People are interested in crossing and grading, and this I would have looked at, and this one was actually fairly easy to me. I would not have crossed this personally, but it's not really a big deal if you did cross it. I mean, you're going to get about the same price because this cross, I would think that this would be a PSA 4. That's what I would have said and would have been right because the corner is 5.5. If you look closely, that's a pretty big corner crease right there, corner ding, whatever you want to call it. And the centering on this card is really, really good. The other corners, this top edge is always an issue with this card if you do not have the white line, and it does not look like the white line is here. So this is actually a very well-centered card. Great eye appeal. I mean, this one little corner has this. I mean, actually for a 4 and for a 6, this is a solid eye appeal card in my opinion. Great, but as far as grading, it's not going to get there because of this. So it does have a little extra special oomph as far as eye appeal and a good pickup if you picked it up cheap kind of thing. But this wouldn't get to a PSA 5 with this right here. PSA 5s are kind of a sweet spot for this card because you can get them. They vary in grade for PSA. This because of this left edge, even just a slight millimeter is matters to PSA. That doesn't matter to me. Like if you see this a little bit bigger than another, they're still just very off centered right to left, and they all will be. And so it doesn't really matter. The rest of the card being mint is what matters to me, top to bottom, left to right. So this card, I thought actually graded and crossed over correctly. If you want to see a 6 on it, it's what you kind of like, but maybe the PSA crossover was good. That people, PSA 4 is solid, and the eye appeal will bump it up a bit more. But I think in terms of like resale value, you would have got a 6 here. So that's just my 2 cents. Tony probably going to put in his 2 cents. So Tony will talk about auctions probably Tuesday or Wednesday. But looking at it again, kind of thin on auctions. This 6.5 that's up. My 2 cents is this would probably cross to a 4. Again, the surface issues are just too much here. And the centering is obviously PSA will be more lenient on this centering, but I just think that the centering on this isn't a good eye appealing centering for this card, nor is it its natural state. The bottom is thick, a little thicker than the top, and this should be reversed, obviously, but PSA will be a little more lenient. But this side to side, it's thin. So people who look at this card often, I don't think that that's going to be a strong. That's not going to be like a PSA 5 price. I think this will come in at a PSA 4 price. My 2 cents on this 7. It's pretty dang nice. They got to be. If I was ever to say if there's ever like a normal kind of median centering thing, if you ask me, hey, what does a star Jordan centering look like? I would actually say this. I would say this is probably like normal, and this is this is gonna probably make you cringe, but this is like your standard 50-50 centering for a Jordan 86 Fleer. This is probably what most look like here. I'm going to say if you're going to get normal centering, this is how I see most. Obviously thin on the side and thin top to bottom, and but not too much. This maybe could be a hair right here on the bottom, but this is kind of as standard that I see, most often. This card is kind of like a picture perfect one for kind of that standard. But no, I think this is a really solid 7. I don't know if this white right here is part of it, and there's little things here and there that I can't tell on the scans, but overall, just a really solid 7. So I could see that hitting 40 for sure, and maybe above. We'll see. If these auctions thin out, I've noticed buyers are starting to chill out. Or I'm sorry, not buyers, sellers. If people are like, I'm not going to get this for it, I'll hold on to it. You're starting to get to that. That's that shift. Is that people always waiting for the lowest price, and then sellers are like, I don't need to sell. And notice this, that there's only been a couple of PSA 7s the last month. So if you need to start picking up, sellers aren't going to sell. So I think you're going to start seeing prices slowly trickle up as auctions come up. And if that happens, you're not going to see a wave of selling, when prices go too high. These can easily go back up to 70, and I don't know the time frame, but I think long term for sure they will. I think that these are still undervalued in my opinion, and I think this card charts well. It types well in a data model. It's everything about this particular card, and that's why we focus. And most people want me to focus here. As far as other 288s and inserts, they don't. I've said this before. They don't type as well, so the pricing will always be softer, and the demand will ever come into what this is, the true rookie card. So anyway, those are my predictions for the year. I think we're going to see slow and steady pricing. We are going to see the announcement of bags, hopefully. And if that happens, you're going to see another star bump. So that's the catalyst to look for the year. And we'll definitely see how this all plays out. And I will see you at the next video.